It's no secret that I like Pokemon, but there's a lot of Pokemon games I haven't actually played. I also like Nuzlocking, but I'd like to improve my Nuzlocking achievements. Fortunately, there's a way to deal with both these two Pokemon birds with one generation lock. Yep, I'm starting a generation lock, but to fit the channel more, let's call it the Zlippy-lock. Will I be able to beat all 32 mainline games, or will I crumble from the pressure? This is episode 4 of the Zlippy-lock, and my first time playing through any Johto game. The rules are on screen now, so let's start leg 4, Pokemon Gold. We started the adventure by picking the boy, naming ourselves Zlippy-D, and going to Professor Elm for our starter. We grabbed Cyndaquil for our starter and named it El Godpapu, which reminds me, you can name a Pokemon by request. Just request a Pokemon to be named after, and I'll name it. After some PK Hex stuff, we get our members from last leg back. This battle was simple. El Godpapu was a bad lead, so I switched to Drake to put it to sleep, hit it with a couple pounds before switching to Sheldon to finish it off. Faulkner wasn't difficult. I killed it with Reznor and back air, but I did accidentally overlevel by 2 levels. Not that it would have mattered though. In Slowpoke Well, I find and catch a Slowpoke that I name Snack. He will get used later, don't worry. Bugsy was easy with the 2 starters evolving, making El Godpapu sweep it easily, giving us our second badge. The second rival fight starts with Quilava burning Ghastly. I switch into back air on one of Croconaws' attacks. Then I put Croconaw to sleep before switching to Crud to finish off Croconaw with a couple sludges. Finally, Zubat went down with a couple switches, switching from Reznor to Drake to Sheldon to finally take it down with a bubble. The Whitney fight starts with Reznor trampling the Clefairy to the ground with a couple stomps. For the Miltank, I start by lowering its accuracy with a few mud slaps before getting low and using my healing item to heal back up. Then I use some tail whips to weaken the beef before taking it out with 2 stomps so I don't get into the heal range of Whitney's Miltank, getting us our 3rd badge. In Bell Tower, I find a Ghastly. I catch it and name it Boo. This guy will also get use later. I also go up and catch a Miltank and name it Milkers. This guy, you guessed it, will also get use later. The rival fight starts with El Godpapu taking out the Haunter. Then, something pretty bad happens. Against the Croconaw, I use Wartortle, deal some damage, but switch out to Drowsy. But then Drowsy gets low, so I switch back to Wartortle, and then Sheldon dies to a crit. After that, the Magnemite died quickly, and with a couple of switches, the Zubat fell as well. I decide to replace the late Sheldon with Snack the Slowpoke and go on our merry way. The fight starts with back air coming and singing the Ghastly, while the Ghastly uses Curse, halving its HP. Then Reznor comes in and takes it out with a Mud Slap. Reznor stays in and dodges some Hypnosises while taking out Haunter and 2 Mud Slaps. Reznor stays in for the Gengar, dodging a Hypnosis and getting a Mud Slap. And because of the Mud Slap lowering the accuracy, and Hypnosis being a 50% accurate move, Gengar's next 3 generations won't be able to hit a Hypnosis. Finally, his last haunter comes in and I hit it with a mud slap before realizing I'm out of mud slap EP, so I switch to El God Papu to take out the haunter, giving us our 4th badge. The Komodo girls weren't challenging, we're easily swept by just picking the right Pokemon, and we got the HM for Surf. While going through the Rocket hideout, I encountered a trainer with a Zubat and Eradicate. Reznor almost took out the Zubat, but almost died, so I switched to Back Air, while Back Air takes out the Zubat, but it died to a Hyper Fang from the Eradicate. Oh yeah, did I mention the very next Pokemon that this Rocket Grunt had was a Coughing? It hit Snack with a Sludge and then exploded, killing Snack. I add Boo and Milkers to the team and go fight Chuck. Primate dies to Confusion and Poliwrath comes out. I hit it with the Confusion, but I get low, so I switch to the Haunter. I hit it with a Shadow Ball, but get low, so I switch to Milkers, who gets really damaged upon the switch, so I switch back to Boo and put it to sleep. But then while spamming Shadow Ball, he used a full heal on his Poliwrath, and I didn't realize, causing Boo his death. After that, we get the 5th badge. After that, we get our encounter surrounding Cyanwood City, which is a tentacle that we name Inkling. The price fight was pretty simple. I killed his first 2 Pokemon with Miltank, and then I sacrificed the level 3 Sentret I caught on the first route to get a free switch into Quilava to get our 7th gym badge. The Jasmine fight starts Magnemite versus Reznor, with Reznor taking it down with 1 Mudslap. But then, the Mudslap does not make it so that Steelix's Iron Tail misses and Reznor gets 1 shot. After that, I switched to El God Papu and burned the Steelix for our 7th badge. To replace Reznor, I go to Violet City and get Rocky the Onix, which I evolve at level 36 because most mods evolve trade Pokemon at level 36. The Clair fight starts with Inkling taking out the first Dragonair with Blizzard. For the second Dragonair, I switch Rocky in on a Thunder so that it does nothing and take it out with a couple attacks. Kingdra ends up coming in, so I go into Inkling to tank a hit. Then, I go into Drake. I get low, but I do end up getting a Hypnosis off, putting it to sleep. Then finally, I switch into Milkers and kill it with a Strength. Finally, I go into El God Papu, and with a couple Fire Blasts, I get my 8th badge. Before going up and fighting the league, I had to make the tough decision to box Crud. Its evolving level is way too high for the Johto games and is kind of just a dead party slot. I go to the New Bark Town and fish up a Lampent to use as my 6th member. The final rival fight starts with Inkling taking out Sneasel with 2 Sludge Bombs. Then I switch into Rocky to take out the Magneton. For Alligator is a doozy. I start by switching to Inkling and whittling it down with Surfs and using my 1 healing item to heal up Inkling. But then I get really close to dying, so I switch into Milkers and kill it with 2 surfs. Drake comes in for the Golbat, hitting it with the confusion, but gets weak, so I switch to Rocky. Then Rocky proceeds to sweep the rest of its team, getting us to the lead. The will fight starts with Heat Death killing the Xatu with a Thunder. I take out the Exeggutor by switching into El God Papu and killing it with a Fire Blast. For Slowbro, I go to Heat Death and try to kill it with a Thunder, but I miss both Thunders, so I have to go to Drake to put it asleep and then kill it off with Milkers. Finally, I go to El God Papu to take out the Jinx with a Fire Blast, and go to Rocky to take out the Xatu with an Iron Tail. Koga's a cakewalk. We put the Ariados to sleep with Drake, go into El God Papu, use all our Fire Blasts, taking out most of the team, and then go into Milkers to finish off the rest of the team with a few body slams. The Brunos fight starts with Drake 1v1ing a Hitmontop before getting low, so I go to Rocky and kill it with an Earthquake. Hitmonlee goes down to a couple Earthquakes, but I get low, so I use my 1 healing item to heal up Rocky and kill the Hitmonchan with more Earthquakes. Fire off an Earthquake with Rocky at Machamp, but get low, so I switch to Inkling, whittle it down, but the Machamp heals up. Then I go to Heat Death, paralyze it, try to hit a Thunder but miss and take a ton of damage, so I go into El God Papu and take it out with a Fire Blast. Finally, Onyx drowns due to Milker's Surf. The Karen fight starts with Rocky going up against an Umbreon and taking it out but getting low. For the Vileplume, I go into El God Papu and hit it with a Fire Blast, incinerating it. For Karen's next 2 mons, I do the same thing as Vileplume, just incinerating it with some Fire Blasts. For Houndoom, I go into Inkling and almost kill it with some Surfs, but it heals up and I get low, so I go to El God Papu and take it out with a Cut. Heat Death takes out the Gyarados with a Thunder, and then when the Dragonite comes in, it paralyzes it. Inkling goes on an absolute killing spree. It takes out 3 Dragonites and an Aerodactyl with 3 Blizzards and Surf respectively, but it gets low on Charizard, so I switch into Milkers, deal a bunch of damage to it, get low on Milkers, so I switch into El God Papu to finish it out, making us champion. I'm not gonna waste your time. The first 7 gym leaders in Kanto are a complete pushover because they're 10 levels lower than the level cap. Here's an example. Surge just immediately lost because I had Rocky, Misty went down because I had Heat Death, and etc. It's pretty much just the most easy pushover you've ever seen up until Blue. The Blue fight starts with Heat Death zapping Pidgeot OHKOing it. Next, El God Papu burns down the tree. El God Papu's in a bad position against a Rhydon, so I switch into Milkers and kill it with a Surf. Milkers stays in, taking out the Alakazam, and also gets a Body Slam off on Gyarados, paralyzing it. I then switch into Heat Death, who takes out Gyarados with a Thunder, but also takes out the Arcanine with a Surf that's boosted from the Rain Gyarados setup, getting us our final badge. The red fight starts with Rocky taking out Pikachu. For Espeon, I switch into Drake and put it to sleep. Then I switch into Milkers and take it out with some Body Slams. Snorlax gets cheesed by Milkers by using Attract and Body Slam, and with the power of Infatuation and Paralysis, it never attacks. I switch to El God Papu on the turn that Venusaur sets up the sun, so it instantly gets crisped by a Fire Blast. Blastoise is even worse though, setting up the rain. This means Heat Dance get 100% accurate Thunders and double Power Surfs, taking out the Blastoise and Charizard and making us beat Pokemon Gold. If you made it to the end, clearly you enjoy this Zlippy-lock. Go check out the other parts in the playlist below. If you're interested, join my Discord below. You'll be able to hang out as I chat in there all the time. You'll see when I'm streaming and when I'm uploading, and you'll see when I'm streaming the Zlippy-lock. So until next time...